welcome to Attackett Adventures today. Today we're here in front of this flag. It's pretty special today, and while everybody else is out Easter egg hunting, I went and found a monument to go to this week. So come and join me for Attackett Adventures. And what I'm going to say today is this. What Congresswoman Omar said, some people did something. This monument we're about to see is, yeah, some people did something, all right. They actually tore down 2 buildings for 9/11, and people died. Over 3,000 people died in buildings and airplanes on that day of 9/11, 2001. And Congresswoman Omar should not be called Congresswoman for what she said. Just like she don't think we should honor the people that died that day or say who killed them. Basically, they were terrorists, Muslim terrorists. So, and also, she's supposed to be a congresswoman that knows something. CARE was founded in 1994, not after 9/11. Her aides or her, they should have known that. You can find it on your trusty encyclopedia of this day. So it's on there. Go check it out. What CARE is. It's a terrorist group, and she actually just went and did a foundation fund for them to raise money, and Linda Soror was there, and some other groups were there raising money for that terrorist group, and she was there. So she needs to know her facts before she starts saying her facts. So I didn't want to pan to the monument while saying this, because it would have been not right, as we're honoring the people that died for 9/11 today at this monument. So here we go. I'm going to tell you a little bit about it, this monument that we're about to see. It's a foundation, and it displays original white markings, J7514. It indicates the beam is from the north tower of the basement subway area. Engineers identified many pieces by the original markings stenciled or marked white or yellow. The stamp markings date back to at least the 60s and 70s, so that the construction workers knew where to place each piece for our crime scene. Investigators found these markings would serve as clues 30 years later to identify the wreckage that followed the terrorist attack of 9/11. This is in Chatham County in Pittsboro, North Carolina. This is the flag that is draped on the monument, and this is the steel beam from 9/11 at one of the Twin Towers. And there's the number that I recited to you, J514, how they knew where it belonged in this, down in the subway areas. And there's a little memorial made up with a candle and some flowers and a flag. But this was put here for the first responders, and it also looks like a cross if you look up at the top. But we shall never forget is on the walls. But I wanted to say also, this beam is in North Carolina, so it came from all the way from New York, just so we can honor the 3,000 people and the first responders that were in that day. So obviously somebody did something that day, but so did the people that died that day. They died for us, and they also, the people that tried to save lives that day did something. And the people that didn't do it, that was just sitting in their offices, did something. They died. And the people that were on the planes did not know what they were going to do later on that day when something happened to them. What happened? They died. So I want y'all to go attack today and keep on watching Attackett Adventures. And I think it needed to be said about Congresswoman Omar, because basically she don't know her information right. If you need to look up more information about her and what she said, go do that. It's out there for you. And keep on attacking the day in your neighborhood. Thanks for watching.
So as Kim said in her video, she took us to a very special place this Easter. This is a little memorial from a piece of what would have been part of the building here in New York's Twin Towers, the World Trade. This was a surprise to me. I wasn't sure that I was coming to see this today, but it's got me a little choked up as I'm even getting closer to the monument itself. And I'm going to go ahead and show you exactly what I'm looking at. I'm in Pittsboro, North Carolina, and right before me is a piece, a shard, if you will, of the building. And it's got an American flag on it for some people that have come by and paid respects. If you look very closely at what I'm looking at, it looks a little bit like a cross, which is really eerie to me right now because, as you know, those that aren't Catholic believe that Jesus has risen to heaven, and I look at it like everybody within those buildings are now in that very sacred place. I'm going to come around and I'm going to say a little something, if you will, to pay respects to somebody that I know personally that was a part of this, and it was my grandfather. So I'm seated here in front of the monument, and in a way it's like I'm sitting here in front of a gravestone, marking and representing 9/11 and all those people that unfortunately were victimized by a major attack on the United States. The reason I'm here right now, and I didn't know I was going to be coming here, I joined Kim, is because my grandfather was one of the lead architects for the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, overseeing a lot of construction in both states and proudly representing the American way of construction. And you know, luckily for him, although unfortunate, he died at 54 years old on an operating table. So he did not suffer the devastation of those towers coming down, which had he gone to work that day, his building had the architectural form on the very top floor. He would not have been alive. So he did not get to see that devastation, and thank God for that. However, I always look at 9/11 as a day of sadness for the people that went about their work and just did the day-to-day, and those families that have lost loved ones always strikes and hits a certain place in my heart. The core of my being right now, as I'm sitting in front of this, is so appreciative for all the people that came together and celebrated those people who worked hard in New York City, those firefighters, those EMT workers, police officers that also put their lives on the line to help those that were injured, hurt, or dying. And to those that did die, I'm sorry to those families that lost those loved ones. I personally was in school that day. I was going to the School of Visual Arts in New York City, which is on East 23rd Street. And in between classes, I was walking towards the World Trade. And I remember being locked in New York City for about 8 full hours without any signal service coming in or going out from the island of Manhattan.
and being completely covered in white powder residue, walking to and from the World Trade area as these buildings came down crumbling. I remember helping people trying to get up staircases or that had fallen down staircases for subways. And I remember seeing a lot of people take advantage of the devastation that was happening to loot stores and push people out of their way so that they could be the first to get to safety. And it was really disgusting. I had never been so hurt, disgusted, angry, and sad all at the same time. But I did my part, which is to know that if those were my last moments and I would never see my family again, I was going to help those people that were in my way and help them find a way to safety. I look back on it now, after all these many years, and now being 2019, and I say, I've now left my home, my heart, and every bit of those 25 years that I lived in New York City. And I look back at this monument and I say, God bless those that have lost loved ones this Easter, and may they be home in a happy and welcoming place. And I'm sorry to all of you. I love you all, and may God be with you.